Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Ron's Library and Ideas. I'm Ron, and with me today I have the lovely Ali.
The lovely Ali.
Yes.
I'm your woman.
Well, yeah, this is my lady.
And we
also have Lucky. Now, Lucky is a special case. I remember I had a video before where I was telling people to learn how to live a magical lifestyle. And a lot of times magic is present in our lives and we don't even know it. When it comes to how we got lucky, I was on my route one day and there were some cats outside of this store.
You want to tell them about Leo?
Yeah, even before that, we had a cat named Leo. Part-time cat, really. Leo was a stray that started coming around after we went and brought a Sekhmet statue. Now, we set that statue up in our house, and I think 3 or 2 days later, this orange and white cat, and we named him Leo, started showing up. Now, Leo had a hurt paw, but, we love that little cat. Now, not too long ago, hey, baby, look at her. That's what happened to her last time.
Okay.
Not too long ago, there was a commotion outside of our house. And by the time I got downstairs, I couldn't see what was going on. But to me, it sounded like,
What happened, the commotion we heard, there was a dog in our yard.
Yeah.
And we could see out the window the dog was chasing something in our yard. And so it alarmed me because I know normally Leo sleeps outside our house. Between our house and the neighbor's house, she sleeps outside, or he slept outside. And so when we saw that dog, it was immediate. I knew that dog was chasing Leo. So I'm like, Ron, go outside, scare that dog away. And so, yeah.
By the time I got down there, couldn't see anything. They were gone, and we haven't seen Leo since. That's unfortunate. It's rough out here for stray animals when they're living on the street. They're really out here in the wild.
And I mean, we had Leo for like how long? When did we? Because we moved into this neighborhood in what? January?
December. It was December 25th.
Okay. And so I want to say Leo came, was it in like March or no, I started working April, so it was after April.
We had Leo for a couple of months, but that was heartbreaking to think about that. That's a bad way to go out. But a couple nights after that, Ali had a dream that Leo came to her in that dream, and he was all beat up, but he was carrying an orange and white cat. And what are the chances of that? A few days after she told me about her dream, I'm outside one of the stores that I service, and I see these stray cats outside. Now, what's funny, I've seen, cats out there before, but I haven't seen any kittens. So it was like 2 or 3 kittens outside and a couple of adult cats. And when I walked up on them, all the cats ran except for Lucky. Lucky stayed right there and waited on me. So I picked him or her up. We're not really sure yet. And I FaceTime Ali. And I said, look, I think this is that cat you dreamt about. So long story short, now we have Lucky. And that just goes to show that you need to pay attention to the synchronicities that happen in your life. Now, I could have said, wow, that's an orange and white cat, and just went about my day. But I recognize, okay, this is something else. Sweet cat. But today we're going to talk about her leash is right here, but it's actually connected to this bag.
I'll hold it because she's trying to get to something over there.
All right. Uh-oh. My map book is getting ready to die. So let's talk about something really quick.
Let's talk about being prepared in life.
Okay. When did we have the idea we were going to film today?
We've been talking about filming for the past few days. I've been kind of waiting for you to take the lead on that and let me know when you were ready.
I said, when we decided we were going to film today?
I think last week I had my hair done and I said, it's a good day to film if you're ready.
But you were tired that night, right?
And that didn't happen. My hair was done for like 3 days.
Okay.
And today I hinted around to it again. Hey, it's probably a good day for us to film. Let me know when.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
So it's my fault, apparently, that the laptop is about to die.
Well, here's the thing about fault, and I think it's something that we are working through in our relationship. Everything isn't about right or wrong or a good experience or a bad experience. But I think we do have to analyze things and say, okay, this is room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I think we have been working on, especially because we have so many goals, is figuring out how can we plan properly so that we can make sure we're on track to achieving our goals, and structuring our goals so that they have a timeline, an end date, and just making them as detailed as possible.
You know, that's one of the things about relationships. That term that opposites attract is true, because you know I'm not a big planner, but that's something that Ali excels at. So I'm more of a do it by will, fly by the seat of your pants, use your instincts. And Ali is more like a step by step. And there's a merging of those two ideas that leads to a happy median. And I think that's something important to have in relationships, is the melding of ideas and, you know, different personalities. You know, even down to our signs. I'm a water sign, Ali's a fire sign. And, you know, I can really see that, you know, when that anger rises up and, you know, it be there. Versus I'm more of a calm, cool, collected type of deal.
That's not true. It's an act. He's a good actor. You put on an act of remaining calm, whereas I want to fully express myself. I want you to know exactly how I feel.
When we were in St. Lucia, there was like a fruit on a tree. It looked like a palm tree. And I grabbed it and, you know, I put it in my mouth and I tried it. Then I gave some to her. You didn't taste it, did you?
No.
She didn't taste it, but, you know, she touched herself. Well, that was a mistake, because I started itching and I said, yeah, this is itching. But Ali was upset with me because I didn't tell her how intense the itching was. I didn't feel like it was a need to panic at that point. I was like, yeah, this is itching. We need to go do something about this. It was like an allergic reaction. Like, I've never experienced anything like that. And it was like immediate.
This is my thing with Ron. He does so well at
staying calm,
portraying himself to be like stoic and even tempered, that sometimes I don't know when something is an emergency. And so in that situation, he told me like, yeah, his hand or whatever was itching.
It was my arm.
But I mean, we went and met with my mom and my grandfather. We took pictures and everything. I had no idea it was itching, you know, as bad as it was. And then at some point he was like, I think I need to rinse my arm. And so he went and tried to rinse it in the salt water and it got worse.
Salt water made it worse. That wasn't a good idea. It just spread it.
And so something happened where I ended up touching myself with the hand that I touched the fruit with. And I mean, this was a crazy reaction. I thought I was gonna have to go to the emergency room. And
she didn't want to do that there on that island.
No. So, I mean, we ran back to the hotel. I had to get Ron to help me scrub myself. It was very traumatic and painful. And I just I couldn't understand, Ron, if you were experiencing this much pain, why didn't you express that to me? Why were you acting calm?
I said it was itching. Like, now had I been, oh my God, you'd been like, oh, this punk aggy.
I won't tell them about why this is, you know, how this.
I passed out one time. I hadn't smoked in a long time. I had some alcohol. We were up in a high altitude and I was over the grill cooking. And, you know, I felt kind of bad, but, you know, I wasn't in any pain. So I'm just going to like dance this off. So I started rocking.
Pause. It was my mom who was sitting next to me. She's like, Ali, is Ron okay? She asked me that like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, he's good. So I asked him, I'm like, Ron, are you good? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I know.
Ow, cat. Get your nails out of me.
He started rocking back and forth and he literally just fell down, crashed into my sister-in-law.
Nah, she moved out the way.
Pretty much, but you fell on her chair and everything, and that was just...
No, see, you said pretty much. I didn't touch her at all.
You sure?
Yeah, she got out the way. She didn't even try to help me.
I think your head hit her chair because my mom was worried about it.
My head hit the back of the wall, but I didn't hit her at all. You said I crashed into her. She got out the way.
Her chair, I thought.
Yeah. But anyway, you ever seen the cartoons, how they do like the fade to black? It was like a tunnel. It was like I was going in the sunken place on the, remember on Get Out, he was falling in the sunken place? It just felt like I was getting further and further away.
But that's another example of how Ron does not explain or express when something is an emergency, or if he's not well, because he wants to always seem like cool, calm, and collected.
Yep. Man stuff. And that's the thing, as you know, that woman can be vulnerable. It's more acceptable from our society. But you know, as men, we're supposed to have it together. We're supposed to be, nah, my foot fell off, but you know, sew back on, I'm all right. That type of deal. Now the itching thing, you know, it was itching, but I felt worse pain. So that's why I was like, all right, yeah, my arm's itching. But that was intense. It was like a severe allergic reaction. On our last day there, that wasn't a good idea. Not one of my better ideas. But it was an experience.
I was gonna say, I think that experience leads to, you know, just how different we are, men and women, and how we do come together when we serve a purpose. Because you know, you just explained how men are supposed to be, but from my experience, I'm looking at it. I want to be able to care for you and know when something is wrong and know when I need to step in. And so that's something I have to tap into as a woman. And you know, me, I'm verbal, so I think communicate. If I ask you, tell me. But so it's just something that I'm practicing.
All right, we're back and we're black. In the words of Ali's grandfather. You know, Ali's grandfather is quite funny. When we were on the island of St. Lucia, he there was what that guy helped him do?
I don't know.
Well, he gave a guy a tip. He gave him $1, said, now get yourself off of this island. And I just thought that was hilarious, because that dollar ain't gonna stretch that far.
He was giving a lot of them, you know, dollars the whole time there, once he found out that our dollar is worth more over there. So he kept passing out dollar tips to everybody.
And you know what's interesting? The guy who drove us from the airport to where we were staying, I can't even think of the name of it. He was just talking about how they make it difficult to get off of the island. Like you have to go through this whole process in order to leave and immigrate to other places. Almost like they want to control who is getting off the island. They want the people with the right mindset. That's why everybody who makes it over here who looks like us, they may not necessarily have the same mindset as us. That saying, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
The main thing that stood out to me about St. Lucia is how poor the people were. So, you know.
That's the thing when you go to these different countries where they have resorts, you'll see a whole lot of wealth, but it's surrounded by a whole lot of poverty as well. Now, one thing St. Lucia had over the Dominican Republic, I didn't see any trash littering the streets in St. Lucia. Whereas in the Dominican Republic, when I was over there, it was a whole lot of trash strewn across the ground. And I said, man, somebody need to do something about this. It was noticeable. But you know, we live in Jacksonville, Florida. And this is like a place, well, Florida is a place that people come to for vacation. And I can definitely understand why. Like, our weather is great. We have beaches surrounding pretty much the whole state. And the weather stays pleasant for most of the year. Right now, the weather is beginning to cool off. Like, it'll be cooler in the mornings, but it's still like 80 throughout the day. And that's wonderful. I'm enjoying how it feels outside right now.
I wrote some notes the other day that you asked me to keep.
Okay.
I guess I don't know what I was meaning to say there. How women prioritize versus men. responsibilities, self-care, friendship, relationships. I don't know what we were talking about.
When it comes to self-care, at me myself, when I get out the shower, I'll put on lotion the next day when I'm getting ready to go do something, but I'll lotion the parts that's going to be seen versus Ali. She's going to lotion and moisturize her entire body. That's just not something that I think about. Like, she had the idea we can go and get like pedicures or something. And in my mind, that sounded silly because I've been cutting my own toenails for as long as I can remember. Why would I pay somebody to do that?
Was I being serious?
I don't know. I felt like you were.
I don't think I want you to go get a pedicure with me. That's just like, that's a feminine space for me.
Okay. You mentioned it, and I said it was...
But I have offered to give you a pedicure.
Yeah, and I thought that was silly. She cut my toenails today. She did a good job. She did a good job. But yeah, men, that self-care, that even like going to the hospital and checking on things when you're not well, that's not something that's a high priority to us. And I know that's something we can be better at because, health is wealth. But yeah, a woman's going to go find out, what's going on exactly. Taking care of their bodies. And I believe that comes down to the nature of men and women. Women are more intuitive. They're more about how things feel, and you feel through your body. Whereas men, we're more cerebral. We're thinking about ideas and concepts. So, it's almost like the body is secondhand. It's just a means to an end in a sense. And I think that's another reason why, our enjoyment of food is somewhat different as well. Because, if I get hungry or sleepy, my mood doesn't really change. But men, you realize, that when you're dealing with your lady, that if she's hungry or sleepy, tread lightly. And don't let her be hungry, sleepy, and mad at you. Or if she's hungry and sleepy and it's your fault, that's a recipe for disaster. What say you?
What say you?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that before. What do I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think about advertising from Snickers. They have built a complete campaign on that idea of being hangry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hangry, grab a Snickers.
Hungry, why wait?
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea of programming. You want to talk about something that's a little bit more controversial? It's been a big, there's this manufactured war between men and women. Like, they've been really pushing this divide. If you go online, they call it the manosphere, where you have a bunch of men with podcasts talking about all the things that they hate about women. And it comes off as very, I don't know the word for it. It comes off as sad because what kind of woman are you dealing with? Like, if I had to make a podcast and it was based solely on all the gripes that I have with women, I wouldn't have very much to talk about because I've had wonderful experiences with the woman that I've chosen in my life. And I think that's something else that people need to keep in mind, that, your partner is a reflection of you. Who are you picking? Because, if you're picking poorly, you're going to have some poor experiences. Baby?
The thing that's funny about those men, they build podcasts on why they hate women or why they can't stand women or the things that women are doing that are wrong. And it's like your entire podcast is built on something, a subject matter that you say you dislike. Mm-hmm. That's weird to me. That sounds like obsession.
I can see it being obsession, but I can also see it being, this is what's getting pushed. This is what's getting the most views. So let me play into this. Because, the things that you speak about and you put all your energy into, you're going to see more of it and you're going to draw that into your life. But, one of the things I think we should keep in mind, especially as Black people and when we're dealing with each other, is that, we've gone through a type of trauma that nobody else on the planet has gone through. And we went through that for like some generations. There's generational trauma that's passed down through your genetics. And it's not like after slavery, they stopped messing with us. We've been sabotaged ever since then, during slavery and afterwards. So you're dealing with people who aren't operating in their right mind. And if you're not healed or working on healing yourself internally, your relationships are going to be problematic. And that is something that I think we all need to keep in mind. We some crazy people out here. Like, we think all of this is normal. Like, this is how life is supposed to go. And that's not the case. When we were living in harmony with one another, we built societies that lasted for millennia. Not 300, 400 years, but like thousands of years. We had civilizations that were going. And now we argue about, what is a woman? That's an example of how far we've fallen. That we actually have to have that discussion. What is a woman? Well, what is a man?
Well, and even that conversation, I think, is shifting because, we had enough people stand up against that.
Mm-hmm.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention, even the conversation on that is shifting, where people are more comfortable speaking out against this movement with the trans community. And, are you guys really a victim in a way that is being expressed?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like suicide rates, what are the suicide rates in comparison to the people who detransition, and where are those people at who speak out about that experience? And then also just the idea of you can transition into whatever you want to be, but where do you take on this mindset where you feel like now you have to have a competitive spirit or you have to downplay the cisgender?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I think, they're getting a lot of pushback on that. And people speaking out for themselves, women speaking out for ourselves and not allowing a community to bully us and tell us what we are and what we aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's helping kind of shift the narrative.
One of the things that I mentioned to Ali before is that one of the laws of the universe is the law of rhythm. And rhythm states that the measure of the swing of the pendulum to the right is equal to the swing of the pendulum to the left. So while it seemed like things were going so far this way, the pendulum was always going to swing back. And the true master is one who can neutralize those effects by using the higher against the lower and recognizing how that law works. They were pushing things so hard on us, trying to redefine what gender means. And they weren't doing it out of a place of love. They were doing it out of an idea of let's sow some confusion. Because as long as you have the men and the women arguing at war with each other, we don't have time to notice the larger things that are happening in the background that's screwing over all of us.
And it's an opportunity to make some money.
Yeah.
Let's play on mental illnesses.
Mm-hmm. And it makes money. But, for these people who can print up money whenever they feel like, they control the dollar supply, the monetary system of all the countries. That's play money. The true power is being able to control the mindset and the mentality of the people. If I can control, well, you pay attention to this now. This is where you put your attention. That almost makes you a god in the sense. I'm controlling what you're thinking about. I'm going to tell you, okay, now we're talking about this. Now you're going to talk about this. That's the new wave. And the true power is, taking that back from yourself or taking that power back onto yourself. You don't necessarily have to pay attention and subscribe to the things that they're telling you about. That's true power. They may say, oh, everybody should be talking about this right now. For example, in the black sphere right now, the Drake album, For All the Dogs, that's the big conversation piece. That's what everybody's talking about. Was it mid? Was it good? Is it a classic? And all right, cool. That's what's on our minds right now. But, to me, that seems like it's one of those things that's a distraction. Pay attention to this so you don't see the larger problems that's looming. And maybe there is power in not paying attention to those problems, because then it can sail over you.
That's where I was. I'm in the mindset now. I don't know when this shift happened, but I'm focusing on things that make my life feel easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to say, but even like this deep study, that's state of mind I was in when I was really into like consciousness and spirituality and wanting to understand the order and the history and why things are. I feel like I've even moved past that because it's just a certain level of peace that has removed kind of that curiosity for me. I understand that I am, and I can be whatever I choose to be. And so that's where my energy resonates. And so that carries over into all things: politics, confusion with friends and family, money issues. I don't focus my energy there, and I don't have any of those problems.
That sounds like you're able to see the bigger picture. And that journey into consciousness, it has levels to it. One of the things that I like about Facebook, posts that you made some years ago, they'll bring it back up to you, and I'll go and read some of the stuff I used to write. I was like, damn, I sounded angry back then, but I'm not that same way. It's like when you first find out about something, it's like, oh, I gotta tell everybody about this. And then you're like, well, why don't all y'all care about this too? Like, what? That's like you and your group of friends, y'all have sex with women, but y'all all been having sex with condoms on. And then you'd have the idea to take the condom off and say, oh my God, this is so much better. And your friends are like, I don't really care about that. But in your mind, he's like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Maybe that's a bad example.
That's the example you used on your video that went viral, and they were like, what? This man just compared consciousness to sex without a condom. I exited out the video here, but they took the time to comment first.
Yeah. It's interesting. People who have arguments and disagreements over the internet on people's videos and stuff, like they feel so triggered by it, they have to come and say something. And the person who taught me about that and how silly that looks is Brother Panic. Like, he keeps the comments on all of his videos turned off. And he says, this is a quote. He says, because I don't give a fuck about y'all dumbass opinions. You disagree with me, fine. Go someplace else. This is free. Pay me no mind. You don't have to pay attention to this. But yeah, comments, arguments under a person's, comment that you don't even know. But you could bring this full circle, and you can see how upset Drake got at Joe Budden that, he made a long post about it. He's been making stories about it. Birdman said something about it. It's like Drake went and told his dad as well. Like, his dad was on there taking shots at Joe Budden. And Joe Budden was doing nothing but giving an honest critique of the album. I saw something today that says hip-hop sales are down like 40%. Like, people aren't buying music like that. And the critique is a lot of the music that's coming out, there's no substance to it. Drake had Sexy Red on a song on his album, and it was like, that was a trash song. What was funny was showing my dad, or letting my dad listen to the Pound Town song. I said, Dad, we went from Missy Elliott and Lauryn Hill to this. This is like, she's the new star. And it's almost like, who's gonna out trash the other?
I mean, there's waves. We've always had hoes that made whole music.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there because people are always running with this narrative. Oh, we went from Lauryn Hill, and I don't know why y'all bring up Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott was talking about sex.
She was. She didn't say my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. She had clever ways of talking about that.
Cool. Women aren't as clever nowadays. We've watched Sexy Red sit down and have an interview. Are we looking at people, the music artists who are popular right now? Do we listen to their interviews? They don't have anything to talk about. They're not very intelligent.
All right, so I guess this is where it comes in. That this is the discrepancy, because while you always had music, women making that type of music, you had like a balance. You had other women who were witty, who were clever, who were being pushed as well. There's talented women out there right now, but they don't get like that same type of push. Like Tierra Whack is dope to me. Rhapsody is very dope to me. There's another MC called Sal Rock. She's very talented, but they don't get the same push. It doesn't appeal to the masses because it's like, well, this isn't fun. I can't really shake my ass to this how I want to.
I feel the same way about music that I just said about everything else. And the same boat of politics and all these social issues as music. I don't really care anymore. I don't feel connected. I don't feel like music serves me in a way that it did, you know, in my past. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. I remember even when music supported me spiritually, like it was a piece of my healing journey to play a certain music and allow myself to sit in a certain frequency. But it's like, I don't need that tool anymore. I can put myself there without that. And so it's just like, you know, I can get in my car and listen to, you know what I listen to? I listen to the conservative radio station. I don't listen to music that often unless, you know, I'm trying to get in a vibe. But even then, it feels forced.
Yeah. Well, I feel like because of the type of artists that have been getting the push, that the music does feel uninspired, that, you know, we lose interest in it. It doesn't feel as deep and personal because, you know, all this is surface level.
Yeah.
The artistry has gone away.
That is true.
And, you know, music is mind control. So if I can push an idea or a behavior through music, I'm going to push the idea and behaviors that I want to get the result that I want. So yeah, they want us to be superficial and surface level. That's the point of the music. But you know, I miss the days where like an album came out and it was like it was exciting. It was like, oh man, did you hear this? It was an experience listening to it. And we talked about that, even like the way we consume music. We don't go to the store and buy a physical copy, listen to the CD on the way home, and you get home and play the CD some more. You know, that changes how things work. What you smiling at?
I'm just looking at you. You look nice. It's funny when we get on this camera, our engagement changes. I'm used to having a conversation and looking at you, and that's part of my engagement process. So.
Well, you know, yeah, that's something to learn, because I'm making sure, you know, we can speak to the audience as well. There's somebody looking on the other end of that, and you know, they want to feel like, you know, they're part of the conversation in a sense. So yeah,
I understand. It's just interesting to sit beside you when you're in performance mode, because this is more performance mode.
I think I'm performing. I feel like I'm being myself.
Oh, performance doesn't have to mean you're stepping outside of yourself. It just means you're presenting yourself on the stage.
Yo, Lucky is smart. He sees a dog walking up behind us, and I don't know why he decided to walk this way, but you know, I got my blade on me and I killed that dog if I got to. We're 20 minutes in. We got about 9 minutes left to go.
All right.
Hello.
We normally wrap up. Well, we've only done this twice, but I would like us to start a tradition of wrapping up our videos, providing, you know, some advice to people, mainly couples.
Let's see, from a male perspective, I suggest you read Way of the Superior Man by David Daida. It gave me some good advice as far as how, you know, men and women, we're different. We process things differently. Like, I'm the type, when I'm upset, I don't want to talk when I'm angry. I'd rather wait for myself to cool down, and then I'll come and talk, because I don't want to say something that's going to come off wrong and be mean. Whereas Ali, she wants to speak in the moment. Now, in Way of the Superior Man, he's saying that, you know, you have to be there and be present in the wash of all her emotions. Like, the woman is like the ocean. It can be serene, beautiful, and calm, but it can be like a hurricane. It's ever changing, but you have to be that unmovable object to let those emotions wash over you and still keep the bigger picture in mind. Well, I love this woman, and I can control myself to where I'm not going to say anything that's going to be hurtful and unnecessary. But she has to say things how she feels it at that moment. And you know, this is why it's better, if you cannot mess up, don't mess up, fellas, because this is what happens. They'll think about something that you did in the past, and all those old feelings will come back, and she's pissed off all over again. And you like, man, that was years ago. You still on that? So it's better not to mess up if you can, okay? Just to save yourself the headache of, oh my God, you still on that? And yes, because those emotions are still fresh in her mind. Women are feeling. So I guess that's good advice. What do you have to say to the woman?
I had something different to say, but because you presented that,
say what you're gonna say.
I want to give women the feminine perspective of that. And Ron speaks about women and reliving emotions, even if it's something that happened in the past. And to women, I want to say that is how you tap into your wisdom as a woman. And any woman who is intelligent and wise, and I think you are analyzing people and using your discernment, which we have to continuously do, we have to pay attention to patterns of people. I think it's harmful for women to be in a state of leading from like, oh, I want to be in love, or so fully caught up in emotions that you forget to always analyze a person's character. And one good way we can analyze a person's character is paying attention to their patterns. And so just like your job is going to give you a 6-month review or a 90-day or a 12-month review, you have to be able to do that for yourself, one, and then for everyone around you, especially if you're in an intimate relationship with them. And so there's a lot of times, like if a few months go by, I'll just ask Ron, like, how do you think the relationship is going? What things are we doing well? What things can we improve on? And that's an opportunity for me to speak up and address some of my concerns. And most of my concerns are things that I've seen in him, like they're a part of his behavior. He repeats these same different behaviors. And so that's something that I'll bring up that I think should be addressed. And, as my man, I would hope that he's doing the same for me, because I believe that's what allows us to grow. So that's where that is. Your man may not like that, women, but hold on to that and tap into that and be true to that, because that is what allows us to be a woman. We are different from men. We do have magic, and that's a part of our magic. The piece that I originally wanted to give to women who are in relationships is to take time to always focus on yourself. Pick up a hobby if you don't have a hobby. Something that I've picked up recently is gardening. I really love it. And the other day I got to paint, and it just made me realize how I've gotten away from like drawing and painting. And that's something that I can probably pick up again and really focus in on, because it allows me time to get out of social media, disconnect from work, disconnect from everything around me, and just sit with myself. And that's important for women to serve ourselves, especially if we have a man that we have to serve. I'm serving a great man right here. Like, there's a lot that comes with Ron. This is a very powerful person. And so for me to be in alignment and for me to stand beside him and to play the role that I'm supposed to play in his life, I have to make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be and that I'm following my journey. And that takes self-care. That takes sitting with yourself and being accountable and analyzing and just allowing yourself to continue to blossom as a woman.
That was beautiful, baby. Thank you. That's a good last word. Here's something to oh, is my phone still recording? Here's something else I want to leave you guys with. We got a couple of more minutes. Now this is what I think, right? You may agree or disagree, but if you went back to the times of slavery and you got to speak to a slave and you met one who was bragging about having the best job on the plantation, like he was so happy with that, would you respect that? Because now we see a lot of people who they want to have the best job on the plantation. They don't want to be free. They don't want the work that comes along with that. Maybe they don't even realize it, but they want to be the best paid slave on the plantation. And I think that's foolish. We haven't got to a point where we have true liberation. And as long as somebody else is controlling your monetary supply, it's like somebody's giving you an allowance, and they can take that away or change the value of it at whim, at their whim. So how do you gain freedom when you're operating the system like that? The answer is you don't. But this has been Ron's Library and Ideas. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ron. This is my lovely woman, Ali. Make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe. If you enjoyed this content, share it with some friends and family. That helps the algorithm. Leave some comments underneath my page. We'll both engage. We'll have a discussion if you would like. But as always, peace, and I'll see you next time.
That was good.